Hello students, today we discuss about the asexual reproduction of or the sporophytic reproduction in nephrolepis, or the detailed account of reproduction in dominant generation and diploid generations of the nephrolepis. So as you know, the nephrolepis genus comes under the pteridophyte plant kingdoms, and in these nephrolepis the sporophytic generation is the dominant generation and gametophytic generation is the recessive generation. So as you know, this sporophytic generation is in diploid stage, and that is having the 2n, and gametophytic generation is the haploid having n. Then these mostly the sporophytic generation comes under, or which undergoes the asexual reproduction, and gametophytic generation is undergoes the sexual reproduction. As you know, the sporophytic generation, that means it produces the spores which is in diploid number, and in gametophytic generation they produces the gametes, that is male gametes and female gametes. So these gametes will be haploid. So these in gametophytic generation the male and female sex will be unite, so it is sexual reproduction. And sporophytic generation, in that they produce spores, so they can asexually reproduce. In nephrolepis, these two generations will be independent, they are not dependent on the any stage. So sporophytic generation and gametophytic generation, both stages are the independently grow. These mostly the asexual reproduction or the sporophytic generation takes place by the spores. So this is the schematic representations of the asexual reproduction. In that, the sporophytic body, which is in diploid number, the sporophytic body produces the sporophylls, which is in also the diploid. Then the sporophylls produces the sori or the sorus. This sori contains the sporangia. In that singly it is called as sporangium, which is in diploid stage. Then in this sporangium there is the capsule is present. In this capsule the spore mother cells are there. The spore mother cells undergoes the meiosis and they forms the spores. So this is the development or the stages which are, or the steps which are found in this sexual reproduction. So let's discuss the one by one. First of all, sporophyll. As you know, there is in nephrolepis the leaflets bearing the sori. So these leaflets is called as the sporophyll. Mostly these sori are present on these abaxial sides, that means on the lower sides or ventral sides of the leaves. At the end of the forked ventlets, these sorus are present. So this is the structure of sorus which is present at the tip of these ventlets in the leaflets. Then if we focus the single sorus or the sori, it is look like the kidney shape. That is or also the name is based on that nephrolepis, because these sori is look like the kidney shape, and this nephron, that means the kidney. So according to its spore shape, they give the name to this species. So these sori of these nephrolepis is kidney shaped, and they are having the group of sporangia, and it is covered by this endosome, or the covering of this sporangium is called as the endosome, and it is also based on the parenchymatous cushion called as placenta. So this is the structure of sori. Then in this sori the sporangium is developed. So this sporangium has the sporangium body is differentiated into two parts, that is stalk and capsule. So capsule has the jacket layer, and which is made up by the annulus and stromium. The annulus cells are the thick at the three sides and thin at the one sides. These stomium cells are thin walled and obliquely placed. It enclosed the spore mother cells. So as you seen in this figure, I just enlarge this figure. So in that cells, uh, the upper globular part is the capsule, and at the base there is the stalk. In the capsules there is the some are annulus and stromium cells. So these annulus cells are somewhat thick at the three sides and thin at the one sides, and the stromium cells are thin walled cells. These capsules encloses the spore mother cell. So after the maturations of sporangium, the dehiscence of the sporangium takes place with these cells of the stromium cells, which is already thin walled cell. So after the maturations of the sporangium, the dehiscence will be takes place. So dehiscence mostly takes place in the dry season, when these annulus gives out the water, and these annulus cells pull the stromium cells due to the uneven drying. These stromium cells are breaks and open to liberate the spores. So what happen in the dry season? In dry season, these annulus cells will be dried, or they gives out they dries. So these due to the cells drying, these stromium cells will be breakups, and at the inner side those are spores develop. These spores will be liberated through these stromium cells. So this is the structure of the single spores. The single spores is the kidney shaped. The spores is the kidney shaped, as you seen in this figure. This outer layer of the spore is the exosporium, and at the inner layer of the spores is the endosporium, and having the single nucleus. So each spores of the nephrolepis is it in kidney shaped, and it has the two layers, that is thick wall. Outer thick wall is the exosporium, and inner thin wall is the endosporium, and each spores is the haploid, which contains the single nucleus and some amount of the cytoplasm. So in this nephrolepis, all spores are the similar. So these term which is used in the nephrolepis, that is homospore. So these are the characters of these spores. So this is all about the sporophytic generations in the nephrolepis. As you know, it is in the nephrolepis, leaflets bearing the sori, so it is called sporophyll. This sporophyll produces the sori, and in the sori there is the sporangium. The sporangium contains the capsule and stalk. In the capsule there is the spore mother cell. After the meiosis of the spore mother cell, they produces the spore. After the maturations of the spores, the annulus in the dry season, these annulus cells annulus cells will be dried, and they gives out the water. So due to this, stromium cells will be breaks, and the spores will be liberated. The single spores of the nephrolepis having the two layers, outer exosporium and inner endosporium. And the spores are the uninucleated, then it is haploid and having some amount of the cytoplasm. So in and main characters of these spores are the similar spores are observed in the nephrolepis. That's why it is called as the homospore. So I hope all of you are understood about this sporophytic generation in the nephrolepis. So now I stop here.